Hey, it's Black Vader once again. I'm doing another reading from Neely Fullers The Code. I just want to say I'm thankful for everyone who's continuing to watch. Hopefully, we just get this out, or you just read the book yourself, But I appreciate any and everyone who's just a part of this. I'm starting from page 63. I'm going over Area 1 economics. And I'm just going over the different sections throughout this portion of the book. Like I said, you can get the book at producejustice.com. But I'm doing my part to at least read it all to you guys because like I believe like knowledge is important and some people just don't want to read sometimes. So I'll read to you guys while I read to myself. We understand the code together. While I stay on code, you guys stay on code. We all stay on code together. And thus, white supremacy is destroyed because of the code and compensation. So, without further ado, let's get started. Um, Question: what is the best and correct thing to say about people who beg? Answer: people are born begging, and if they exist long enough, they will spend their last days begging. That's absolutely true. Babies come into the world begging, and there's nothing wrong with asking. In the code, it says asking for something is way better than stealing. Or rather, a group of dudes come outside my house asking for I don't know a cup of porridge from I don't know. That's corny, but like just anything, asking for like money, advice, anything. I'd rather you come to me and ask for it instead of stealing. What do most people say? Oh, I would have gave it to you if you just asked for it. You know what I mean? They might say yes or no. I think in business, like you want to hear more no's all the time in business because you're taking a shot at getting your yes. So you might as well just try to keep saying yes and applying that over. Begging or just asking. There's certain ways to beg anyway. So, but going back into it, the answer, I think asking for something's always better than begging for it. So, and yeah. So, question, continue to read on question. What is the best and the correct thing that a person should be willing to beg for? Answer: justice, balance between people, which means to which means to guarantee that no person is mistreated and to guarantee that the person who needs help the most gets the most constructive help at all times, in all places, in all areas of activity. Choose to beg for those things produced by the work of others rather than to rob or steal. Never choose to rob or steal. Instead, go to a white person you have to reason to believe can be of some help and ask for constructive help that is needed. Asking help in general is, this is just me. Oh, wait, hold on. Repeatedly ask for such help from white people and avoid asking for such help from non-white people to continue and move on. So, but, you know, you get the best help from people who are most available to help your situation or most qualified to help your situation. So I think, and that is smart and logical. If I'm gonna ask for help from, like, let's say I have something really high up I need to reach, I might ask for help from all different type of people. But let's say I see a giant, I'm gonna ask the giant, "Hey, can you grab that for me?" You know what I mean? Because he's the most readily available. It's using logic and you're asking for help and you're not stealing anything. And you may not even get the answer that you need or the thing that you need at the time, but there's enough resources and people on earth that they will give you your answer if you are more persistent enough. For continuing to read. Explanation. According to compensatory logic, it is always so-called embarrassing and incorrect to rob or steal. According to compensatory logic, it is neither embarrassing nor incorrect to beg for constructive help. Compensatory investment request. I think I I think I actually used that around the time where like my girlfriend's white and her friends are white and stuff, but I've actually used the same words, compensatory investment request. I said, "Hey, so and so, I need to make a compensatory investment request," and she was like, "Oh yeah, what is it?" And then I said it was X, Y, and Z, and I just got it. Whether it be a friend or whatever, white person, you know what I mean? Just like you can ask for things from people. What's the worst someone can say? No. If you steal from someone, they're gonna be saying, "Hell no." You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with asking for things. Um, continuing to read, as long as white supremacy racism exists, everything that a non-white people get that is of constructive material value or that is of greatly destructive material value comes directly or indirectly from white people. Therefore, it is compensatory counter-racist logic for non-white people to ask white people for what is needed, and when they do not receive it, they must compensate by interacting with the powers of the known and unknown, the Creator, God, Allah, all power, etc., and or by interacting with white people according to the selections from the compensatory counter-racist code. Continuing to read, non-white people who choose to rob or steal from any people, white people or non-white people, should expect no mercy from either white people or non-white people. It is correct for the people who have robbed the most and stolen the most, who have been robbed the most and stolen from the most non-white people to be willing to take the first major step towards putting an end to all robbing and all stealing. Any people, white or non-white, who are not in favor of supporting the aforementioned corrective suggestions should expect the interactions between people of the known universe to continue to be what they should not be. So things moving forward or continuing the stealing because of stealing and taking from others, it appears that if we continue to do this, this world will continue to remain the same through the system of white supremacy. I'm going to read this one more time. Non-white people who choose to rob or steal from any people, white or non-white, should expect to from either white people or non-white people. I'm sorry. Non-white people who choose to rob or steal from any people, white or non-white people, or non-white should expect no mercy from either white people or non-white people. It is correct for the people who have been robbed the most and stolen from the most non-white people to be willing to take the first major step towards putting an end to all robbing and all stealing. Any people, white or non-white, who are not in favor of supporting the aforementioned corrective suggestions should expect the interactions between the people of the known universe to continue to be what they should not be. Always be mentally and physically prepared to function constructively and to become stronger by doing so with less material support. Examples: eat less food and drink more water. 2. Acquire, wear, and maintain only those garments that are absolutely necessary. 3. Maintain adequate but basic shelter facilities with the maximum logical use of every little space. Be prepared to move yourself and all other possessions many times, and make sure that your most important possessions can be moved frequently from place to place with little difficulty. Number 5, avoid acquiring anything that is not necessary for supporting constructive thought, speech, and action. when talking about the health of a person, talk about correct health and correct economics as being one and the same. According to compensatory counter-racist logic, economics pertains to the manner in which all time and energy is used. Health is basically the combination of the time and energy in all areas of activity. Therefore, correct health and correct economics is the way that time and energy is used in regards to all persons, all creatures, and all things in their interaction with one another within their known and unknown universe. Correct use of time and energy equals correct health. When talking about mental health of people, say that the best way to produce correct thinking in the minds of people during the existence of white supremacy is to explain to all of the non-white people of the universe exactly what white supremacy is and how it works in all areas of activity, including economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war and counter-war. It is important that every person in the known universe knows and understands that white supremacy racism is a world system of domination and mistreatment deliberately designed to dominate and mistreat people classified as non-white at all times, in all places, and in all areas of activity. Eat and drink correctly, only as necessary. What you put into your mind and body will have the effect of either being constructive or non-constructive. Everything that you eat, drink, breathe, inject, and absorb into your body should always make you think, speak, and act more constructively. Many of the things that people, both white and non-white, are exposed to, and many of the things that they eat, drink, breathe, inject, absorb, do great harm. It is correct for all people to do all that they can to learn about everything that they eat, drink, breathe, inject, or absorb. All people shall learn the difference between true food and false food. To do so requires much study, but such study should be done without dangerous experimentation. Much care should be taken to avoid producing mistaken or non-constructive conclusions. Do the best that you can to eat and sleep correctly and only as necessary, and while doing so, think of the following. All food and drink should be for the purpose of helping the mind and body do constructive things. 2. Nothing should be put into the body of any creature that does not help the creature to think and act constructively, correctly. 3. It is not always easy to discover what is really food or what food is best for a person. 4. It is not always easy to know the correct amount of food that should be eaten, nor the correct conditions for eating that food in that amount. It is, however, correct for each person to make a serious attempt to get as much information as he or she can about the correct foods to eat, when to eat them, and in what amount. Because something can be eaten, probably with pleasure, does not necessarily mean it should be eaten. Many things that can be eaten do great harm to the mind and body. 5. Many things that people eat or drink do little other than poison the mind and body. In addition, those foods and drink that may be correct for the body and mind may not be treated or stored correctly, causing an incorrect result when put into a person's body. 6. Sleeping, like eating and drinking, should also be done correctly, only as necessary. It is not always easy to know exactly how to sleep or how much sleep is necessary. If a person does not have the will or the ability to think, speak, and or act constructively, it may be because he or she sleeps too much or not enough. It is correct for a person to use the required time and energy necessary to constructively take care of his or her body, including the brain. To do so is most important than taking care of his or her garments or housing. Control your temper. Temper serves a purpose, but it should be controlled. Understand what is happening and why. Listen to what is being said and why. React to every situation by using constructive logic. Do not allow yourself to be provoked in their doing or saying anything that you are likely to regret doing or saying. Do not hit, curse, or name call any person who seems to be trying to provoke and or trick you into doing or saying something that you will regret. Be prepared and be alert for temporal provoking traps. Do your best to be calm and methodical in doing what is most constructive in stressful situations. Practice making plans on how to best speak and or act in stressful situations. Codify everything you do and not do in hostile situations. Suggestions. Avoid making statements. Ask questions. 2. Be courteous. 3. Make a record of what the other person said. Study each word of that record. 4. Avoid putting anything in writing and giving it to others unless required to do so after you receive remarks in writing from those others. When requiring to respond to accusations against you and to be willing to do so in writing, start by writing something similar to the following. In order to best promote the production of justice, balance between people, I hereby request that an inquiry and or investigation be made of all the facts, directly or indirectly associated with the matters in question, and that this be done according to the correct procedure necessary to guarantee that the same protection needed to all who have the duty to produce justice. 6. Always be willing to say that you are a person who intends to do your best to replace non-justice with justice, guaranteeing that no person is mistreated and guaranteeing that the person who needs help the most gets the most constructive help. 7. When speaking and or writing with the intention of producing justice, avoid making statements that include specific accusations. Practice asking questions. If necessary, many questions. Always do so with the intention of receiving logical and constructive answers about the best way to produce justice and correctness. Avoid excess. Avoid acquiring things that you must serve more than they serve you. Avoid being possessed by the things in your possession. Do not worship the toys that you or others possess. When a person spends too much time and energy arranging, cleaning, counting, repairing, and or protecting his or her material possessions, he or she will have too little time and energy for anything else. Too little time and energy would be used to think, speak, or act to eliminate racism and produce justice. All materials possessions should be used to eliminate racism and or produce justice. In a known universe dominated by racism and by other injustices, no time, energy, or material possessions should be used for any other purpose. Or avoid wasting time and energy doing things that are useless and are not constructive. Instead, 1. Study and observe in detail how to do something of constructive value that many people need and that they need help with, and try to learn all you can about the best way that you can satisfy that need by yourself with little help from others as possible. 2. Try to learn how to do at least 3 things that are of constructive value and greatly needed, and try to learn how to do those things in a manner that is efficient and greatly satisfying to all involved. Keep what you do of constructive value as simple, as inexpensive as possible, and try to keep the reliability and the quality of what you do excellent, consistent, and predictable. 4. Be persistent. Be willing to learn from mistakes and keep trying to do which is of constructive value regardless of opposition or lack of support from others. No, it is correct that every person in the known universe do his or her very best to be as of constructive value as possible in everything that he or she does in every area of activity, including economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war/counter-war. At every failure, stay focused and be persistent in trying to do what you can do next. As long as any part of your mind and body can serve some purpose that is of constructive value, use that part to do so. Think of ways to compensate for any losses by using whatever was not lost to do what needs to be doing. Avoid doing and saying anything that unnecessarily helps to promote a loss of constructive financial support for any person, white or non-white. Avoid doing or saying anything that unnecessarily contributes to any person losing a job, housing, health services, constructive income, etc. All people who exist in the known universe are, at all times, in direct or indirect need of constructive financial assistance or something of equal value. When a person does not requires financial support or something of equal value, he or she becomes unnecessary and incorrect burden on others. Every person in a known universe should, at all times, be constructively productive and have a constructive income. This constructive income should be of the quantity and quality that will help each person do the things that will help most in producing justice and correctness. Oftentimes, many people will abuse those who does not have adequate financial support. Oftentimes, many people who do not have adequate financial support will abuse others. Such conditions are incorrect. In many ways, people will seek and or act in an arrogant and or uncaring manner to those who they regard as having inadequate financial support. Such speech and or acting should never occur. In addition, it is incorrect to deprive any person of the chance to help produce justice by eliminating his or her financial support. It makes no difference that he or she is white or non-white. As long as a person exists, he or she should have enough financial support to give himself or herself a chance to produce and maintain justice and correctness. Avoid doing or saying anything that may result in a person not being able to provide for himself or herself the necessary quantity and or quality of food, garments, shelter, general health care, and constructive relationships with others, or doing or saying anything that obstructs or subverts a person's ability to speak and or act to promote the production of justice. Explanation. There is no such condition as unemployment. Everyone and everything in the known universe is employed. Every rock is employed. Every person is employed. Every blade of grass is employed. Every animal is employed. They are all at all times employed in activity or inactivity that is either constructive or destructive. There is no such condition as a person not having a job, being unemployed. Each person in a known universe either has a job doing something constructive for self and others, or has a job doing something that is destructive to self and others. Those persons who are not or cannot provide for themselves in a constructive manner during that period, a detriment or a danger to themselves and or others. It is the duty of every person in a known universe to try to help every other person to help himself or herself to produce and maintain a constructive existence. To promote the production of justice is to promote true economics, balance in all areas of activity. True economics means to guarantee that no person in the known universe is mistreated at any time and guarantee that the person who needs help the most gets the most constructive help. True economics also has a direct and indirect constructive effect in all areas of activity, or in all areas of a person's existence: education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, and counter war. So I think I'm gonna stop reading there. Um, I went over. I'm gonna have to remember this. Why is it good to beg? Begging's better than stealing. Be mentally and physically prepared. Talking about health, controlling your temper, avoiding excess. Um, don't do anything that messes up your money or other people's money. And seek to be constructive to people and help other people be constructive as well. So next I'm going to read about happiness and vacations. But I just want to say thank everyone who's reading the code with me or going over it with me. I really appreciate your time. I could be like not being constructive by like watching television, watching TV. But we all got to be useful. So I appreciate you guys for allowing me to be useful, and making my existence useful to others and just to myself as well too. Like, because we all need somebody, we all need something in this world that's ruled in darkness, or world or in white supremacy or injustice. You know, this world that's ruled by injustice. We have to, you know, we have to do something. So I appreciate you guys for allowing me to be constructive. I love you guys. I'm tired, but I'm gonna keep going. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'm out. God bless.